Doing another action figure review. Well, actually I'm doing a double action figure review, and today we are looking at something from it's a 2024 figure. It's the 40 years anniversary of the TMNT, or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So it is a remastered, or these are officially titled Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1988 Remastered. Now I only have 2 of the 4 figures. You'll see them in a minute when I flip around with the boxes. But I could only get 2 of the 4 figures so far. I have the other 2 ordered. I'm hoping they will arrive at some point. But for now, I only have Leonardo and Michelangelo. Or Mikey and Leo, whichever way you want to say it. So they do come in identical style packaging and boxes. The only difference is obviously you have the name of the character on the front. So this is Michelangelo's. You have a collect all 4 to create a custom scene. The artwork is quite nice. It actually showcases artwork from the original kind of, it's not the original Eastman and Laird because it was all done in kind of black and white, but it's that kind of style design, earlier turtle design. And they have the multicolored headbands or eye masks, as opposed to the single color, because the original idea was that they were all going to have the same color bandit masks, or wraps and headbands, and they were all going to be red, but they swapped them out for multicolor. So when the cartoon came around in the 80s, kids could discern which turtle was who, and then when the toy line came around, they kind of modified that again with having each turtle having a kind of slightly unique shade of green for their color system. So as you can see, Mikey and Mikey and Leo here have 2 different shades of green for them, so there's a slight variation on their skin tone. So he shouldn't be holding that because that is not actually one of his accessories. We'll get into that in a second. We'll go to their actual accessories that they come with. So first off, each turtle so far, and going forward they will have them, each turtle comes with their signature trademark weapon. So Michelangelo has his nunchaku, which are on his back. They are better than the original version because they have a metal chain, and I'll showcase that in a second. Also, their accessories are painted. So on the original turtles, now I don't have any of the original turtle weapons, but these are the reissues of the stored shell turtles. In fact, I'll just bring you can see Leo here has his katana, which are unpainted. We'll do a comparison with him later. But for now, you can see what I mean by the weaponry on his back are painted. For each turtle, you get a base. Now, I'm not sure if I've mixed them up slightly. I think I have them the right way around. So, for the most part, these bases are identical. So, they have a plug system. They don't actually hold together or anything like that. They just loosely fit, so you can either have them like that. You can have them facing each other with the wall pieces like that. You can have the walls back to back, or you can do a side to side on them. It is interesting to note that each base has a slightly different, I think that's supposed to be Mutagen Ooze Blob paint app. So I'm not sure which one came with Mikey and which one came with Leo, because they have been mixed up a bit. But I know which accessories came with which. So Michelangelo has this, I'm not sure, I don't know if it's not an extractor fan, but it's kind of like some sort of ventilation type thing that sits on the roof, and it can be placed anywhere. There's no dedicated plugs for it to go on this thing. There is kind of a metal plate. It kind of looks like it should kind of sit on that, or maybe to the side of that. It's up to you where you want to put it. In addition, Mikey's comes with this triple antenna satellite dish thing, which there is plugs on the back of these. You can plug them there, or there's this plug here at the front, which I believe they can fit into that if you want. It all depends on where you want to place that accessory. And then for Leo, he comes with a kind of a standard TV antenna, which again plugs into any of those plug points. And then he comes with a, it's not a Velux window, but it's like a window box, kind of like a, again, it's hollow on the inside, so there's no, it's not like, it's supposed to be like glass window or rooftop window. You would typically see them higher up than this and have like a box around the bottom, but sometimes they were flat. They used to use them as garden boxes as well, so it depends on what way you want to use it, and you can have it set in different positions, and so you have that as well. So it's quite good. And then you can close this off, or you can put the turtles, they do have peg holes, but there is no pegs for them to sit or stand on the thing, so you can put them anywhere you want on the actual figure or on the bases. Moving along to their other accessories, I'm just going to put these up out of the way. Hopefully they don't fall down while I'm doing this. It might be a bit slidey, so both turtles come with duplicate accessories, and then they come with a unique accessory. So for their duplicates, they come with 4 or 2 each of these throwing stars or ninja stars, whichever way you want to call them. Then you have I'm sure these have specific martial arts names, or martial weapon names. It's like a punch dagger and a smaller kind of punch dagger. At least that's what I'm calling them. I know they probably have names, I just don't know the actual name. And then Leo gets kind of the weirdest looking accessory. So he has this weird, almost grabby claw on the box. It does show him holding it. If I just move the box off to the side, if I bring it in, it says classic new 13 points articulation bonus weapon when customizable display base. And you can see he's holding it kind of like, almost like a tonfa, but it's like a bladed tonfa is probably the best way to describe it. So it's kind of like similar to the weapons that Nightwing uses, those kind of nightstick type things, except it's like a bladed version, and there again probably is a specific style name for that. But he does hold it in his hand. So if I just squish it into his hand, there we go. He does hold it the way they show it. And I think you can have it probably that way, so it looks like he can swing it and get swings around and creates, kind of similar to that thing that Finn used in the Star Wars films, that kind of nightstick sort of thing. So it's similar to that. Again, let's move this out of the way. And then for Mikey, he comes with this, would you call it a kukri? Maybe it's a kukri. It's like an alternate version of his nunchaku, except it's a bladed version. And I know there is again, probably a martial arts described weapon or descriptive version of this. This string part is actually just one piece, so it doesn't bend or anything. It's not a bendy wire, so you can't put it in different poses. It has a bit of give to it, but over time I would probably suspect they would snap, kind of similar how the original Mikey's weapons would snap back in the day, because of the stress that his weapons were under when you store them. You don't have that with the chain, because the chain isn't actually going to be under that much stress, but you have that. So we'll take a look at the figures themselves. We'll just get things cleaned up and we'll come back and have a look at the figures. And we'll have a look at Mikey first, and then we'll take a quick look at Leo, because essentially they are both the same figure. All the turtles in this line are the same figure. They have the exact same bodies. The only differences is belts and the heads. Well, obviously the colors. The color they are molded in is different as well, but for the base figure, each figure uses the same body buck, or body, whichever way you want to pronounce it. So we'll have a quick look at Mikey's actual weapons, because we had a quick look at his gimmicky weapons. So, well, they're not gimmicks, he's packing weapons. So he does have these two nunchucks, which are on chains, which are pretty cool. You can flail them around if you want. They are better than his original counterpart. Now, I don't have an original counterpart of him. I have a reissue of the storage shell, which actually used the same mold for the weapons. So this is how the kind of original weapons were on the Michelangelo figures. You had just instead of an actual chain, you had just this string. Well, it's not even a string. It's like a blank piece of plastic holding the two parts together. And if I swing him around now, this, because of the way the storage shell ones are done, he doesn't have all 4 loops. Because if I turn this one around, you can see there's 4 loops instead of 3 on his belt. That was for storing the handles of the nunchucks. On this one, he only has 2, or sorry, 3. And what would happen with nearly every Michelangelo figure back in the day, kids would stuff them into that. And I know there is a way of getting around it by, I'm not going to take his things out of his hand, they're too tight, where you loop it over instead. But what kids would do is they'd put them straight in. So the first handle would go in there, the second handle would go in there, and this would bend this very tightly like that, and that would put an incredible amount of stress onto these nunchucks, and they would break. We're not really looking at this guy, it's just a side note, so I'm going to get out of that, and we will go back to Mikey himself. So Mikey has, if I take his nunchucks out, they're quite fun to swing around. He has swivel in the shoulder. He has a joint that allows him to do T-poses that much. He has single jointed elbows with a swivel on them, so you can bend out that much. It's not quite a 90-degree bend, but you do get a bit of a bend. You can kind of straighten out his arm and then kind of bend it. You can rotate his wrist. There is no hinges in the wrist on these guys. There is nothing in the torso. The only thing is, like, they have the belt. Obviously, I think the belt is pre-glued in place, so you could potentially take it off the torsos if you wanted, but they're not designed. Head is on a ball joint, so you get a good range of movement, which is actually quite nice. The originals were just on swivels, so you get a little bit more movement than the original. I will bring Donnie back in for a example. They do have weird ankle or thigh articulation, so instead of kind of a standard like a hip joint that most figures would have, where they have a ball joint, where they have like a T-bar here and it's connected onto the hips, they went with this kind of more kind of swivel hip joint is probably the best way to describe it. So in order to, you can kick forward, you can kick back a bit, but like kicking out to the side, you have to rotate this whole knee part, and then his knee pad is kind of off. You can't swing the leg up and do like a splits with it. So like if you want to kick off to the side, you have to angle it and swing it. So you do have that. There is a single jointed knee with a swivel in it. And then this is where most of the collectors of this particular line have an issue with this line. You do have this swivel cut in the ankle. It makes no sense because it breaks up the sculpt, makes them look like they've broken their ankle very, very badly. And in addition to that, it doesn't give you any extra it does give you an extra articulation point, but it doesn't give you any extra posability range on this. So it is a kind of a moot point, I suppose is the best way to put it. And so it is a bit of a weird joint that they went for. I'm not sure why they used it, but it is what it is. They do have peg holes on the bottom of the feet. They're big hexagonal, or is it hex? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's this, yeah. There's a peg hole on the bottom, and he does look quite good. Now, unfortunately, as I said, I only have, actually I'm going to bring the tape measure so you can see how high he is. He is around 4.5 inches tall. I don't have a original Mikey to compare him to. Just show his weird extra weapon. He does hold that as well. I'm going to bring that other Mikey back in This is the original, or not original, it's the reissue of the storage shell. Now, what I mean by storage shell is these guys open up at the back, and you have gear in them. Actually, I'm going to take this out. It has that big weird pizza disc thing as well, which you can actually, if you have these, and I'm assuming it's the same with any of the original turtle weapons. I'm not going to take his original nunchucks because they're really tightly held in place, but you can give him one of these pizza things, whatever, they're like a pizza throwing disc. You can give him whatever the heck this thing is. Looks like some sort of bludgeoning weapon for some reason. And earlier on I had some of the other weapons. I think some of these are from Raph, I'm not sure. I think he came with this torch. Oh no, I mixed up all the storage shell weapons because I wanted to see what fitted in his hands. I think he was holding this at the start of the video. It's not actually from this figure, but you have this little cuttlefish knife, I suppose is probably the best way, or it's a knife, fish knife. They have some wacky weapons. They did always have wacky weapons for the turtles back in the day. There is this kind of Stone Age looking hatchet that you can hold. Not Don, Leo's the same. If you have if you have stuff for Leo, he will hold that as well. And then I think this is actually Donnie's, and this is like a catapult, which I really like. It looks really good on Mikey. Let me see if we can get him. How did I have it the last day? I had it kind of looking like he was firing it. In fact, did I put it underneath? No, I should have put it this way. There. Just angle it, and there we go. So it looks like he's actually about to fire his catapult at you. I believe it's actually from this Donnie storage shell, because it's out of all of them, I think he's the one that has the only weapon that wouldn't fit in this shell when all the other weapons are in there. So it is what it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear off stuff, and then we'll have a quick look at Leo. So here he is, the Leonardo figure. As I said, he's essentially the same figure as the Mikey. He does have the storage for his two katana, which do fit quite nicely into the back. In fact, his katana, since I have the storage shell version, and I believe they reused the same mold for the katanas. Again, you can see the colors match up quite nicely. They're actually pretty much like, this is how the original figure looked as well, color scheme wise. But unfortunately, this one's actually got bent from being a little bit too far out. But you can see the wraps on the handles are painted. It's done in a silver plastic, so it looks a bit better than just this brown beigey color or tan color. The handles on the actual original one looked a little bit more interesting. The sword handles or the katana handles. Other than that, he looks pretty much the same. He does hold his katanas quite nicely. I would think that pushing them in and out of his hands quite a bit will start affecting the paint apps on those handles, because they are only painted. Just bear that in mind. They aren't exactly, you know, if it was just pure silver plastic, then you probably would get away with it, but because there is paint work on the handles, I'll put that back in. Should I leave any of his gear in him? Oh yeah, he does have this weird whatever the hell this thing is. It looks like a roadkill mace, but we'll move that aside. We'll put him there. Now, there is one thing that collectors have said about Leo, and it is the fact that he does have an incorrect head, depending on how you look at it. So I do think they were kind of aiming for the storage shell version of him, because if you see, he has the gritted teeth on both sides. But in the original lineup, and we'll bring Donnie back in because he is the main culprit, you can see Donnie has this, or Donatello has the two open gritted teeth. On the original Leo, in fact, Donnie's not going to stand. On the original Leo, his head was more like the Mikey's head, except with one exception, which is his gritted teeth was on this side. It was mirrored almost. So his kind of closed mouth side was on this side, and the gritted teeth was on the opposite side. I think the only two figures I had full gritted teeth was Raph and Donnie, and it made sense for Raph to have full gritted teeth because of the way he's supposed to be the angry one. So you have that. So we'll move stuff around. I'm going to put his swords back in these holsters, in the thing on his back. It is a nicely done holster, and they do hold quite nicely on it. Oop. So we'll pop them back in. Just be careful when putting them in that you get them over. You get his swords quite nicely put together. So on the storage shell figure, he comes with this weird, almost roadkill aardvark. Is it an aardvark? I'm not sure what it is. Whatever it is, he comes with this thing that he's supposed to be able to hold in his hand. And we'll see if the new version can hold it in his hand. He can. I don't know why he has this thing. It looks like some sort of weird aardvarky sort of critter. It's again a weird bludgeoning device for the turtles. The other cool thing he comes with, again, not this one, but the storage shell figure. If you have the reissue ones, you can mess around with the weapons. He comes with these really brutal looking knuckle dusters, the spiked knuckle dusters for his hands. And I believe it was the Leo comes with this. It could be the Donnie comes with it, but one of them comes with these spiked looking knuckle dusters, which look really, really cool. I think they would have made sense if it came with Raph, but I don't think they come with the Raph figure. I believe they came with the Leo figure. I could be wrong. If someone wants to correct me in the comments below, because as I said, I have mixed up all their trademark, the storage shell guys' trademark weapons. But again, if you have the weird giant pizza disc, he can hold that too. So you have that. So you can have them kind of looking like they're having pizza, because it kind of looks like almost like a regular deep dish pizza, but it has saw blades on the side of it. So if you want to kind of have him holding it, maybe two-handed, can you get him to hold it two-handed? Probably not. He probably just rested on his hand, so it looks like he's having pizza. You can do that. So it falls out of his hand. So for one more example, and I'm going to cut it off here because I don't have too many examples from the original line. The only other figures I have, and I'm not sure where they are, is I have the mutating Toka and Razar from the later line. But we have another vintage, more original figure. I picked this guy up not that long ago at a toy convention, and I spot him because I'd never had him as a kid, and I always liked the look of him. Is General Trag, which is the rock soldier guy from Dimension X, one of Krang's bad guys. The only other vintage figure I have is a Shredder, the original Shredder figure, knocking around somewhere. I'm not sure where he is, but he's a goofy looking figure and I'm not a big fan of it. Hopefully, there is rumors that this line will be continuing with more characters coming, and I hope we get like a villain lineup, because we've gotten 4 heroes. Hopefully they might do 4 villains, so hopefully we might get Shredder, Bebop, Rocksteady, and a foot soldier. That would be my ideal lineup for getting a continuation of this line. But we will bring Mikey back in as well. We won't throw his weapons in, but we'll leave it here. You can see how an original General Trag lines up with these guys. You can get some cool poses out of them. They're not the most highly articulated figures, but for the price point, and this is the thing. Now, I had to get these imported from the States, from Walmart. As far as I know, I haven't seen them for sale anywhere over here in Ireland from like the regular places. So I got mine from Walmart. They're $13 each in Walmart. There are people selling them on eBay in full sets for like $80 plus for a set of 4. So there's a bit of a markup on each figure. If you're patient enough, now if you're from Ireland and you're watching from Ireland and you have a dress pal, that is how I got mine. I used the address pal address, got them to send them. Just make sure when you do buy from the Walmart website, if you're buying, this is at the time of this recording, because you could be watching this years down the line and go, oh, I can get these from Walmart, and it's like either doesn't exist anymore, or the figures are long out of circulation. But if you are getting it from the Walmart site at the time of this recording, when I get it up, and should they be still available, I do recommend making sure that you're getting them direct from Walmart as opposed to a third-party seller, because the third-party sellers, you'll genuinely know if it's a third-party seller because the price will be higher than the standard price anyway, but you never know. But they should be around $13 each, unless they're on clearance or on sale. I've seen people saying they picked them up for $6 when they were on a clearance aisle inside Walmart. I don't know how things work over in the States for clearance aisles, so it could be just a thing that they got put in there by accident, or they just locked out and that they were on the shelf in there. Who knows? But I do recommend getting these figures. They're actually quite cool. If you like the original Turtles and you want something kind of even neat and nostalgia for your desk or table, desk, wherever display, and you don't want to go all out and buying a huge line, because if you went out and bought every single figure from the original line, you'd be quite broke, especially looking at Scratch. A buddy of mine told me that the Scratch, the cat figure, is insanely priced, and I had a look on eBay recently just to see what he was on about, and my god, it's the price of a small car. So, you know, you do that with what you will. These guys aren't too bad. They're a bit more articulated than the original one, so if you want to put little poses on them, and they come with a cool little display base, so if you want just something neat, tidy for your desk, just to have something to sit and look at, then these are guys to get. So hopefully I'll get a review done for Donnie and Raph when I get them, and I might have a few other bits and bobs. I'm working on trying to get some other stuff in the TMNT line so I can showcase it for these videos, so hopefully you'll enjoy that too. So thanks for watching, and I'm gonna wrap it up here, and thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and try and share it with people who might appreciate this video, so I can help get those viewership numbers up and help grow my channel. So thanks for your time, and thanks for watching. Cheers, have a great day.